Hiya, welcome to Microsoft Community Insights podcast, where we share insights from community experts today in Microsoft. I'm Nicholas, I'll be your host today. In this podcast, we will dive into the world of real-time analytics in Microsoft Fabric. And today we have a special guest called Thrushna Matharasi. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Could you please introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the listeners tuning into this podcast. I'm Thrushna Matharasi, Director of Engineering at Solera Holding. I've spent over a decade of time in the data space across multiple industries, be it finance, healthcare, banking, apps, services, and transportation. My core expertise lies in developing unified data platforms and real-time predictive systems that directly drive business value. Throughout my career, I've focused on transforming data into actionable insights that helped organization unreal or unlock new revenue opportunities, optimizing pricing strategies, and improving custom monetization. By leveraging real-time analytics, I've enabled companies to make data-driven decisions that accelerated revenue growth and create sustainable competitive advantage in their market space.
Okay, so before we get started, what drew you into real-time data engineering into the world? What drew you? So what got you started? How did you get started?
How did I get started? All right. Yeah, sure. I can add that. When I guess back in, like I said, when we were doing app services and applications back in with Digital Turbine, we were using, batch and real-time applications. But before we dive deeper into the real-time applications, I would like to pause and break down the difference between the real-time and batch and where it evolved and how it evolved. For the batch analytics, technically, we just collect the data from different sources and then we publish the data or process it in a scheduled intervals. And the use cases were very, old school, which was, historical trending analysis that we were doing, or sales report by month or by year or by day, or, missed mileage reports, etc. Right? So they were all going back towards history of the data and trying to make analytics out of it. But with real time streaming, what has changed is we are trying to process the data immediately as it arrives. Between milliseconds to seconds. And the use cases for this is mostly the sensor data, IoT sensor data that we receive for monitoring and alerting, and in different compliance in today's world, how we use this for compliance and violations, and how we can get those out of how we can quickly address them and get to our customers as quickly as we could as we receive it. So that's the basic difference. And when I was working at um, Digital Turbine, the biggest space in the app industry, we were processing most of the data, event data, using Databricks and Kafka and streaming, and then we just ingested the data into data lake or Delta Lake, and then we had a very similar structure that we have in Fabric now, linear architecture, gold, silver, and bronze. And ultimately the purpose of that was we wanted to read out of it as quickly as we could to maintain reliability for the end customer. So that's the background
Nice.
how it is involved.
So what does a typical day look like at your workplace, Trishna?
Oh, it is a lot of data, I would say. So it starts off with us doing, we have different pipelines that we have built, and in a real world, nothing just pauses for
Yeah,
you. It just
yeah,
keeps running, and you have multiple issues that happen to be around something that's breaking. There's a production issue, or you're talking about new builds, new pipe deployments, and then always strategizing how we want to see the future of the company and strategies. So it's mostly a lot of strategical meetings and how we want to make sure the customer 360 is achieved.
Okay. So before earlier, you said there's a difference between real time and is it batch? You said.
Correct, yes. Batch process.
So could you explain the difference? Because I didn't really get the difference. So,
Yeah, yeah, sure. So for batch data, as so the real time. Let me start with batch, right? It's very date. I mean, it's been there for quite some time, and
yeah.
we have a lot of data coming in from many source systems. Be it, transactional systems, could be, SQL Server, Postgres, IBM DB2, Oracle. You have name it, and you can just get those data from different source systems as your company publishes the data. The data is always processed over a period of time, and it's not like processed as it arrives. So it is usually scheduled at different intervals to ensure the data is getting batched up from the previous offset, and then you are collecting the data at maybe daily, hourly, or
So it's similar to like a cron job, like
correct,
you
correct.
indicate, like a
Yes,
schedule.
yes.
Okay, got
So
it.
it's a scheduled job. Whereas when you talk about real-time analytics, it's usually immediately as it arrives from a streaming
Yeah.
platform. You just have the data landed in your landing layer, any landing layer. Here we are talking about OneLake, where where Microsoft Fabric has different layer flavors of uh, data processing within OneLake. We have gold, silver, bronze, and the data gets curated and processed and put
Yeah.
in different layers for the end customer to utilize that. So that's the key of what real. So when I say real time, it doesn't just stop at any of these layers, right? So the once it gets into the bronze, it just we immediately process the data, push it to the silver, and then we curate the data, then push it back to validate, and then the gold layer sees it less than micro batches. And technically, we are talking about having the real time data available basically for time series dashboarding,
Yeah.
right? So it's not like a report that you want to see. It doesn't matter if it's real time or batch. You don't
Yeah.
really care about
It's for money. It can be used for monitoring anyway. So energy
exactly. So
infrastructure.
exactly.
Okay.
So I think there is a key difference between and when to use what is very important. In many cases, I think many companies are doing a hybrid approach where they modernize the stack to have both real time and batch processing. And for real time, they use immediate alerting and monitoring, like you've said. Targeting certain customers to have some monetization aspects there, but if it's for batch, it's usually comprehensive reporting and analytics, right? So,
That's brilliant. Do you mention you want to show use case that you say you often use it for?
so I guess we could have like I said, the modern architecture platform that Fabric serves is you have events coming through Event Hub, and then
Yeah.
you have a streaming data platform that sits in, and ultimately you just push that data to OneLake, right? And once you have the data landed in OneLake, you have bronze, silver, and gold layer. And once you get to the gold layer, you can use that for immediate BI reporting or real-time dashboarding feature that Microsoft has within the platform as well. So that helps in both streamlines, where you could for anything real time, you could just plug in any layer, be it bronze, silver, or gold, to process and do your machine learning or deep learning initiatives. And for anything that's like I said, which is delayed reporting, can still be batched out of BI dashboards or Power BI.
Okay. Because often data, it's a fine line between data and AI because you can still integrate that. So
Yes.
are you doing anything with AI at your workplace with data?
Yes,
Whether it's
so we are trying to so with our latest tech stack that we're trying to go to, we are trying to build a new application. It's called I can't give the name, but it's the fleet application that we're trying to build, where the
yeah.
biggest problem that we were trying to solve over a period of time was having one unified data platform for our customers, and we are trying to integrate all the data into one lake, and then from the lake you will it will be uh, a data lake where you will have all the data streamed in from different systems. From there we are trying to provision our application to read the data and have more agentic AI questioning, where you could just talk to the data. That's the feature that we're trying to implement to enable the end customer and have flexibility of customer just talking to our data.
Okay. Is there any, from your experience, is there any best practice of like refining your data, or from being like from your time as an engineer working with like data engineering?
Yeah. So I think when I say refining the data, I will go back to the core principles of having the data curated well before it gets to the goal layer. So
Yeah.
according to the standards, I think we should always play by having raw data always stored in a landing area or a landing lake area, where we could anytime go back to find the diffs between what has been ingested today versus what was there in a fraction of seconds, right? So it's always good to have that landing area. And once that's there, the best standards that I think we should always put together is ensure that data cleanliness is there. Without that, I think any data that you process further downstream is not valuable. So when I say data cleanliness, we are talking about ensuring the data format, data types, and then we are also talking about ensuring the quality of the data is there, and we are always trying to ensure that we are not missing the data, right, from previous batches that we ingest the data. So I think these are very core. We should always have a healthy state of data in our databases at silver layer to further process it downstream. Also, I think the biggest consideration that we should take into play when we are doing data cleanliness is we should help with making a pre quality checks in terms of data rules. When we have preferred data rules that we are trying to address, we have to always test them before we push them to the next layers when we are building the goal layer.
Okay. If someone wanted to be like a data engineer or work with Fabric, what kind of experience do you think or skills do you think they need?
I guess they wouldn't need any any huge experience around that. I think they should be good enough with SQL, and everything else is very self-explanatory. I've also tried a lot of videos that are available online. You could just take a quick MVP of of the tool and then start building things out of the box. There a lot of open source videos available to just get started. I think it's not too hard. You should just have SQL background, and I think anybody could get started there.
Yeah. Is there any recommendation that you recommend to get
Uh,
started?
I guess the recommendation is, you follow the steps right during the setup. The bigger challenge that you would have is, especially when you're trying to set up the streams or when you're trying to set up the hub, if it's not organized in the right fashion, you will end up having, latencies and issues around those lines. So I think that's one takeaway from the streaming aspect of things. And always structuring the data right is very important. What goes in and what goes out from the from the environment is also very important.
Yeah. Is there anything like before when you get started as working with data? Is there anything that interests you or excited you about this field as a data like engineering?
Yeah, so I have been in the engineering world for, like I said, over a decade, but I always loved data. And I think the
Okay.
problems that data could solve was something that interested me. It was not, so I started my career very early as a data, report developer, right? So
Yeah.
the kind of problems that I was trying to solve, especially the on the reporting side, was interesting. So eventually I moved from reporting, and then I found that enterprise solutions were, designing and data modeling very interesting. So I explored there, and then I felt like, oh, now I want to learn more and I want to do data engineering. Where is the data coming from? Where is this? Where is the source of it? How does the things work? Then I moved into data engineering world, and then eventually, I kept growing down that route. But I think the key takeaway is data can solve a lot of problems. It was until 2013, 2014, it wasn't taken seriously. But after that, when things started moving, and with AI, I think data
Yeah.
is going to be like a
Yeah.
key player.
Yeah. Because in order to solve any AI problem or issues, your data have to come first. So you
Yeah.
have to know how to refine your data. It's like refining your prompt as well. So data is really matters. So in our podcast, we always like to get to know our guests. So what would you like? What do you like to do aside from like you're passionate about data engineering? Do you have any hobbies and you do in your spare time?
Yeah, I guess I love cooking, and I also hike a lot. So those are the two main hobbies I think I would love to do. If and also I like interior designing, so I try to explore a little bit of it, but I felt like I didn't have time for it. But if I'm given when I'm retiring, I think that those are the two things that I wanted to become a chef and have an interior designing company.
Okay. Are you are you are you part of any like data communities, like whether it's events or conferences as well as
Yes.
part of your day job?
Yeah, no, I'm not. So I do that after work. So I'm part
Yeah,
of a co-chair for CDO magazine, and I'm also mindful is something that I'm also, part of AI groups that are hosted in Dallas area. So I usually try to be around the places there.
yeah. Because I think there's quite a lot of events in America on that side about like whether it's AI or data. So
Mhm.
it's quite good.
Yeah.
Would you ever speak on it about data, whether it's one like fabric or anything?
Can you come again? What is the question?
Would you ever like speak? Did you speak on it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
one of the
yeah.
events?
I had
Okay.
multiple speaking opportunities. Yes, I did. I
Oh,
was
that's brilliant.
yeah, Microsoft community. There is one that's hosted in Orlando, so I'm going there, and I have one event coming up. Like I said, the week after this, which is CDO magazine, and being the co-chair for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
in the days.
Because I know a friend that went to Fabricon in Vegas or something. Yeah, because that was on I think the same time. It's like I'm not sure if it was summer or something. It was like September. Like it was like in Vegas, like fabric, all about fabric and data. It's quite good to know. Yeah, so thanks a lot for joining this episode, Trishna. So hopefully everyone get to know more about like the importance of using data, even if it's in the world of AI now, as well like how you can get started. So hopefully you get some tips and tricks from this episode and stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.